I've got a great panel, and I must say I'm very excited because they all come from different parts of the world. So I've got Sugar Shay next to me, same Singaporean.
Yep. Hey guys.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
So, and then we've got Veronica who came from Switzerland. Exactly. Yeah. I've got Zax from South Africa and B from Australia. Woo! Yeah. I'm just going to let you guys all take maybe like 2 minutes, just introduce yourself real quick, and then we'll go straight into the panel, shall we? So B?
So I'm B Moon, and I'm a singer-songwriter from Australia, and I'm excited to be here. Really excited to talk to you guys.
Awesome. Zax?
Hey, my name is Zakes Bantwini. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, artist, performer, and a former A&R head of Sony Music Africa. Yeah, thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Veronica Pizarro, and I'm an artist from Switzerland. I write songs, I produce them, and I'm here. Thank you very much.
I go by the name of Sugar Shay. I'm a 26-year-old rapper from Singapore, and just excited to have this conversation with you guys.
Awesome. Okay. So we'll just keep it quite fluid for this panel. The panel's titled as The Authentic Artist. Something that, it's interesting in terms of lots of different areas we could cover. So I'm just going to start with the very first question, kind of keep it really generic and go, what makes an artist authentic, and what is authenticity in terms of, in your books? Can it be produced, or how is it produced? And maybe we can start with Veronica.
Well, I think authenticity, that's that one thing that it's as simple and as hard as just being yourself. I'm a true believer in just being yourself, and don't pretend to be anybody else, or to not pretend to like this sort of music, because at some point you're going to break from pretending to be someone else or something else. So authenticity for me is just being yourself.
Do you guys agree, or is there something else that you feel differently? Zax?
Maybe we can zoom in on what authenticity means. The dictionary would say it is an undisputed origin, and it's something that has never been perhaps there before. And when it comes to music, it's quite tricky because you have 88 notes on the keyboard. And the minor chord has been played so many times in different forms. The major chord has been played in so many times in different forms. And melodies have been sang so many times in different forms. So one song would perhaps sound like the other song. So you will have a first chord which sounds like I'm Every Woman by Whitney Houston, and then the second one then sounds like something else, and then your approach would be like someone else, the melody. So the question of authenticity in this day and age is quite tricky. Is then how then do you package yourself and be authentic? Maybe it doesn't start and end with music. Then maybe it's multifaceted, kind of like an approach. For me to be authentic, then how do I look? How do I present my music? How do I sound? And all those things, then maybe people then will qualify you and be like, oh, he is a bit authentic. But it could happen that maybe you are louder in terms of your branding. And your branding is one which is so different than any other person, but your music sounds the same, like any other person. So it's quite tricky on how then one can claim to be authentic right now, without someone saying, oh, we have a new Drake. Oh, South Africa, they were like, oh, we have a new James Brown because I dance. It's like everybody would be like, oh, we have the new, oh, we have the new. So it's something which is quite tricky. And it's something for each and every artist needs to take a decision in terms of where do I want to be loud? Where do I feel like here, it's where my strength is, and it's where I think anybody could identify me easily than any other artist.
Thanks Thanks for that. B, what do you think? Do you think authenticity can be produced?
I think one thing that I did want to add, like just on top of him, intention from the start in terms of like, if there are any songwriters here or artists here, just asking yourself why you're doing it, and making sure it's not like a clout chase, or your intentions aren't purely focused on fame and all the extra stuff that come with it, because that will like inevitably catch up with you towards the end, because there's no longevity in chasing like stuff like fame and money, because like there's no foundation in it from the start. So I think I would say that is really important to think of in terms of authenticity. Yeah.
Sugar, you come from a hip hop aspect. What do you think?
I personally feel that every artist has a message that they want to say or they want to project, and authenticity is basically about knowing yourself, knowing your message that you want to get across as an artist, and holding on to that despite being in the industry where there will be so many people trying to tell you what to do, how to brand yourself, to make yourself sell, and like how to promote yourself, how to market yourself. So despite all of that, I think authenticity is just holding on to what you really stand for, and not just doing something for the sake of selling records or whatever it is. And I think that, you know, people can recognize something real, so being authentic is very important in this day and age.
That's kind of good segue into the next question in terms of how do you guys see each part of the music industry contributing to the production of authenticity in the branding of an artist? Where is it from a perspective of, is it record labels or different aspects? What do you think?
I think it varies between an artist which are signed by major record companies, e.g. the BMGs, the Warner Brothers, the Sonys, and indies. For instance, if you were signed by a major record company, the first question when an A&R signs you is they have to identify where your music is going to be played. They have to make a target of thinking that how much they think you're going to sell, because then that gives a record company a budget in which they need to spend on this project, you know. Because with the record companies, with major record companies, it's about the bottom line. The passion is not really about you. It's about how much they are going to bank at the end of the day. So sometimes you are forced to do what they think, you know, you have to do, so that you're going to sell those particular records. So it becomes then hard for you to be that authentic in that kind of like a setup. So as an artist, like you've said earlier on, you need to take a decision and say, what is it that I want to represent? Because it also touches on branding, you know, because as an artist, you want to speak to different brands. At the same time, when the music is out, you want a certain brands to, you know, to kind of like have a relationship with you. And those messages from your music to how you to conduct yourself, to how you speak to your people, to how you connect with your fans on Instagram and everything else, and how your music sounds, then gives those brands a message of this is the person that we can chat to. So what I'm trying to highlight is that the business is challenging artists to be authentic. It's like the bottom line, like the money that we want, it's challenging, because suddenly, if in Asia, ballads are on radio, and you feel like you want to do EDM, and then you are forced to do a ballad record, because in Asia you cannot have a #1 if you are EDM. It's an example. Then you end up leaving your EDM and then do the ballads because you just want to be number one and make money for that particular record company. So hence I'm saying that bottom line is really challenging the authenticity of an artist.
Well, I think authenticity doesn't start with the team around you. It doesn't start with the label, because it's always your decision. I think it's the key. It's like the central. What do you want? It starts with me as an artist. It starts with you as an artist. Choosing the right team around you and choosing the team who you feel comfortable with, who you feel you can share the same vision, basically. And you're gonna find the label who supports that exact same vision. You're gonna find the booker who supports that exact same thing. And so it's not gonna be a question of they want to change you anymore. So I believe that it really starts with yourself and choosing the right people around you.
I'd like to hear from your perspective, just your own journey on that note, how you've seen that come through for you.
For me,
Anyone? Yeah,
I mean, as an example, for example, so I started working with my manager like 2 years ago, and we talked to a lot of publishers because the interest was very big in Germany. As a young singer-songwriter, I guess that's an easy catch, let's say, for them. And we talked like to the major ones, and they're all super interesting, but we just didn't feel like, it felt like we would be another artist on the roster. And that's not what we're looking for. And now we're probably going for the one person who works for a smaller company, but she truly believes in my music. And as hard and as easy as it sounds, just find the people who believe in you and the music, and not in the money that you're maybe gonna make in 5 years.
I think I totally agree with you there. My manager once said to me one day, not to me, to a group of people, and which is something that I'd like to share here, is that what is the difference between an A-list artist and a D-list artist? It's not talent, it's the team. Because talent can take you this far, but then when you have a team that is just going to make sure that you are packaged very well, that you're into right stages, right radio, you're connecting with the right people, you have the right booking agent, you have the right PR agent, and you'll be then different than maybe some of the artists that are even more talented than you are because they don't have a team. Just a day ago, I was watching Kanye West crying on radio, saying that he misses his manager because he feels like most of the mistakes that he has made, he would have made those particular mistakes if he had that manager. And so it tells you that then he believes in the team, in him saying, most of my mistakes that I've done now, these mistakes, I'm doing them because I don't have a team anymore. Which therefore tells you that when he was happening, it was not because of him. Because now that he's alone, he's making these mistakes. So when he was happening, it means it wasn't him. It was a team behind him. So I think the emphasis is about also finding like the right manager. It's hard. It took me a while to find my one, It took me a while, but it's to find the right manager, someone who really believes in you, someone who will go hungry with you, someone who will go broke with you, and someone who are married into your vision. You need someone who's gonna marry your vision, no matter where your vision takes you. But if someone is married to your vision, then you there. So in as much as you are putting emphasis on making the music, you also have to put an emphasis on finding the right team, and beginning with the manager, because then the manager will help you then identify the booking agent, identify the other people from different regions to help you achieve whatever that you want to achieve.
Is that the same in Australia for you, B?
100%. Like they just said everything I've been thinking. So I'm signed to BMG as a singer-songwriter, And before signing my deal, I was just like a kid writing songs. I was just taking every writing job I could take, from producers overseas doing EDM who wanted like a female vocalist on their tracks. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know the business side, had no idea like about the finance side. So, and I don't want to do that all the time. Like I understand it's your business. You're the CEO of your actual art. But my team now that I've got, like I could not have signed that deal and sort of become the artist that I have without them sort of just driving it and sort of like being the extension and the legs of like the legwork that I can't do as an artist. So it's so important. Yeah, 100% what they said.
So I'm curious as to when you're sitting down with the team that each of you guys have, how much do you convey about what's the importance of what you want to stay true in terms of that authenticity of what you are versus how much do they influence you in terms of saying, no, this is what you need to be? Yeah.
Yeah, which is exactly why you need to.
I'm just going to hold one moment, going to ask Shiga first, and then we're going to come back.
I think, to add on to everything that was said, having a team that truly understands your vision, and at the end of the day, the artist has to be the one that makes the decision in the sense of what direction and what vision he or she has. But what's going to make it successful, I feel, and is a team that truly understands the vision and would execute the vision right. And having everything from a proper management to a proper label that truly understands where you're trying to go, and to not compromise on the authenticity of what your art really stands for. And at the same time, like, other than a management team, other than a label, having a production team that actually understands your taste and everything, it makes a huge difference too when it comes to the videos, when it comes to the music that you make. Because when these people actually understand where you're trying to go, it shortens the process a lot and it makes it a lot more efficient. Yeah.
I think the power of music has always been on collaboration. You seldomly do a song on your own, play every instrument, and I think that's the foundation of what the music business is. And I think also out of that particular studio, you need also that team, which is definitely good. I think we grew up knowing there were different, I say narratives about record companies, taking artist monies and managers robbing artists and all those things. And I think that particular narrative now has changed. I think artists are no longer but they are no longer passionate about the team or the managers anymore, or people that are working with. So immediately as they feel like I can do this thing on my own, then they leave. So it's like I'm waiting until I pop. Immediately as I pop, then I'm like, yo, manager, thank you very much. It's been nice. Then I go and do my own thing. And we don't really give a shout out to our managers, because most of the people, even maybe some of us who are here because of our managers. I know I'm here because of my manager, because I didn't know about Music Matters. Maybe I'm not the only one. But every artist that's there will then think that, yo, Zakes Bantwini is there because he's the one who made it happen. But the fact of the matter is that it's not me, it's the team who made it happen. And I think the emphasis is always we always want to look at the guy, and we don't respect the guy next to the guy. And most of the time, the guy next to the guy is the guy that is most important. We look at the artist, and the artist is merely someone who is, I would say, displaying what the rest of the team is doing. It's just that every time when we're on stage, then we take that credit, and we never want to give credit to people who really made us to be who I am. I wouldn't have known about Kanye West until he made a blunder. Then now he's telling me that, oh, I didn't have a manager. But when there was glory, I didn't even know that he had a manager who was that influential to him. you know. And I think we really have to give a shout out to our managers and give a shout out to the team that really works, because it's gonna help artists understand that they need also to find a right team for themselves and really be married and be loyal to their team, like the team is loyal to them.
Okay, I remember we had an interesting conversation outside just now, and one of the questions that we said we're going to have a discussion on there was, is some music more real or authentic than other music in terms of or genres, or for the better, how much does that matter? You guys are gone quiet.
Ooh,
I mean, we had a lively one outside.
There's so many opinions to this one. It like music is subjective. Like what one likes, the other isn't gonna like. So I wouldn't even know how to answer this one. I would literally just look at it as like more of an individual thing of what type of music do you think you should be making as the artist that you want to be, like, and not focusing too much on what you think is the best type of music out there and why your music isn't any better than the other thing. It really just honing in back into what kind of music you want to make as an artist. That's the only way I could answer that. That's a tricky question. I'm just going to leave it to these guys.
Anything to add?
I said that on hip hop is not not real music, so and I was just joking, you know.
Sugar, go after
because I wanted Sugar to have something to say, but I will always highlight threads in my question, in the answers that I give, because when you talk about real music, when you say that, you have plugins that could play you chords now, you know. You can just go in there and just write F minor. After that, after 4 bars, you can write it F minor, 4 bars, E major, 4 bars, G, whatever, you know, and it plays for you. And then you can then copy, and then you can maybe use your mouse, because it identifies, it tells you which is like the bottom notes, and then you can go to your mouse and follow those bottom notes. And those bottom notes then give you the bass line. Then you change that sound like bass line, then you have a bass line. And then you go in and then you sing off key, and then you auto tune, and then you're on key. And then the song is number 1.
With auto tune rap on top.
No, it's okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
That's interesting, right? Because with technologies these days,
yeah,
that's
with
really
bordering
on this line of how much of that is authenticity.
Yeah, exactly. So now, when someone then asks you that, then you start looking and be like, okay. Then I would say it's the music made honestly, and the music against music which is cheated. I mean, that's where, because you can never replace a human being into music. There's one thing that you can never. You can cheat everything else. You can use auto-tune, you can do it, but you can never replace a human being into music, because at the end of the day, a human being has to listen to this. And so somehow, I think there's a really something special there, because when some things are done originally, the song lasts forever. We don't know how. I can't tell you how. But when it's done honestly, it lasts. When it's being cheated, it doesn't. It can be number 1, but the next week it's no longer there. And that's why we still enjoy the Michael Jackson even right now. That's why we enjoy the Marvin Gaye's right now, and the Luther Vandross and everybody else who made beautiful music. The music that was released like last week, we can't listen to it today. And I think as artists, we just need to choose. Do I want to be quick bucks, or do I want to leave a legacy? I know I want to leave a legacy. So even though I know I can use an auto-tune, but I'm gonna try and go to my vocal coach, you know, and be like, I wanna sing that note. I really wanna sing it. I really want to, you know. Even though I know I can use auto-tune to do it, but I still want to do it, you know, originally, because when I'm here at Music Matters and I'm supposed to perform live, and people know my music, they wanna, okay, we wanna hear that note now, and then I'm unable to sing it. And then they will know that I'm cheating, you know. And I think that's basically it. You know, there are so many ways you can achieve great records by cheating, but I think the right music and the honest sound will always stand out.
So, Veronica, tell me, can you think of an example of an artist whose work most aptly exemplifies the term authenticity as you experience it?
Well, one of my biggest inspirations is Amy Winehouse, because I mean, her first album was called Frank, and I used that word a lot, and honesty, and it was vulnerable. It was her. I believe every single word she's singing on the album, and as well as on the Back to Black album. And I believe she was herself. She was doing the music that she loved doing, and that wasn't playing in the radio back then. And the first album wasn't even that huge hit, but she became that legend. And I don't know. I think people can feel that, as you said. People know when you're being real or if you're being fake. And yeah, so Amy Winehouse is one of my biggest inspirations.
What about you, Shiga?
For me personally, I feel that somebody who really exemplifies authenticity is Kendrick Lamar. From being able to kind of package his whole story and where he comes from Compton, and like with little anecdotes to introduce to the world how his hometown is actually like, and make everybody understand his story, and have people from all different walks of life and different parts of the world understand his story, you know, from Good Kid, Mad City all the way back to Section 80, the way he really maintains the essence of his true self and his environment. I think that's it's a great artist that really represents authenticity. Yeah.
B, what about you? What's your inspiration?
I'd probably say Frank Ocean. I don't know if anyone knows Frank Ocean. Okay, everyone's nodding. Good. So yeah, he's just a massive inspiration for me. He's a really great storyteller. He's a gay guy, African American guy. You don't see much of him on social media. He's not really like for the spotlight, and I think that's what I admire about him, because it's really just taking it back to the stories, and just the way he wields words. It's very, very exciting for me to, like, as a listener, to watch. So that's why he's like my biggest inspiration.
Your inspiration, Sax?
Yeah. You're looking at me, I'm sorry.
It's so funny because my inspirations are really words. You know, I'm inspired by the word icon, legendary, because all those words, prefix, are used to some of the best human beings we've ever lived with. The iconic Nelson Mandela, the legendary Michael Jackson. So all those two words that are usually used to people are just amazing, you know? And I always say that I'd like one day to have that prefix before my name, iconic Zakes or legendary Zakes, you know? And those, for me, that's very much inspirational. In terms of like the sound and the music, I love Fela Kuti. And Fela Kuti is a Nigerian artist, Afrobeat artist, who died about 21 years ago. But I don't only love his music, I love his message, I love what he stood for. You know, standing for African, you know, freedom, and challenging the politics of Africa thereof, and using the music as the foundation in terms of challenging that. And that's for me, it's not only just the music, but it's just about this guy and about these particular words, you know. and I really, but the person that really made me to go make music, I'm kind of like, you know, I don't even want to mention him now because I think the media is not really friendly with him. But a guy who really, I was like, I want to go and make music and live the life like this guy is R. Kelly, you know. So so that's basically it.
So, you know, obviously I work for MTV. We have like several platforms that we help promote artists, and I'd be curious to hear from your perspective. What do you hope to see out of partners like us stream partners, whoever, in terms of helping to promote authenticity for artists like yourselves? Veronica?
I think it starts again with the artist. Not, I mean, no offense at all, but not for every artist MTV is gonna be the perfect spotlight, you know? You gotta be the artist and the person who fits to MTV because you represent something. You are MTV. You are a huge brand, and not for everybody's gonna be the right platform to be presented on. And I guess it's then up to you to say, wow, we really believe in this artist and really like the music, and we think we have the right platform from you. And so the artist doesn't need to change in a way. It's from, I mean, what platforms you could expand. You know, you can make a pop special. You can make an R&B live session. Whatever you can, all you can provide is the different platforms and maybe broaden them. But I would say again, it really starts with the artist who fits with you. And yeah,
I guess what me is like in terms of any platform, it doesn't have to be it's like any kind of partner. What are you looking for partners to help to really help to promote authenticity for you guys?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, definitely. Like even events like this where we can showcase our music, bring on singer-songwriters who like might not have a team or might not have the budget or like resources to get in contact with someone from MTV or like a big platform like that. I think access is a big thing for artists. Like there's so much mediation and barriers and gateways like to get to that platform that you want to get to, right? So I think having like a event or just more like a showcase just for artists that might not have those chances. Yeah.
I feel that, you know, with the internet, it's so many platforms that are coming up nowadays, and the whole wall that labels used to have on artists is like practically gone right now, because the minute you upload something on Instagram or YouTube or SoundCloud, or you can even, you know, upload your own stuff on Spotify right now, it gets direct to the fans. So I think that, you know, different partners could possibly come in with different sorts of platforms that could possibly expand an artist's reach, and just not putting them in a box, but more like, you know, helping them be themselves on these different platforms. I think that would really help. Yeah.
So perhaps we'll wrap the session by maybe just in terms of asking any final thoughts in terms of tips that you'd like to share with the audience here in terms of how they can look at promoting themselves as well from your own experience.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the most important thing that I'd like to share with every artist who's here is the importance of data. You know, understanding your audience. Right. So it's really understanding your audience, and how do they consume your music, when and how do they find you, where, and how they engage with you. Do they consume your music through streaming or they download? Because I think data speaks to us differently. And it's about time that you use your data. You go onto your Insight on Instagram, you go to Insight on Twitter and all these other platforms that are available, those platforms then will give you and will tell you that how many people that really like you or want to hear or even engaging with you, you know. And my suggestion is that you sell your music to them, you know. You service the people that have already shown some interest.
Any other final words for any of you?
Yeah, just hard work, learn the craft and positioning, like he said, just like targeting your right audience. Like, don't be deterred because you might be in like a country that only listens to, I don't know, folk music, but you're doing trap. Like, it could just be positioning that you're in the wrong location, so don't let it sort of get you down. Really pay attention to data, like he said. But do the work. Like, hard work can take you so far, like beyond talent. Yeah.
Sugar?
I think what I can share is that it really helps when the artist knows themselves and know their own music and know where they stand, because I think that self-awareness is a very important thing when it comes to making music, period. And, you know, just trusting your instincts and trusting your gut feelings, because you're gonna need a lot of that when you're maneuvering around an industry like that, and just fight for what you truly believe in.
Veronica, final words.
Oh my God, so much pressure. Final words. Absolutely, what you just said. Do your thing and play as much as you can. Play live. Live music matters.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. I hope that it was an interesting panel for everyone, but thank you, everyone, for your time here.
Thank you.